Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Gabriel Bonfim to defeat Nicholas Dalby. And I'm here to talk about Michael Morales versus Jake Matthews, co-main event for this fight night. Jake is 29 years old, 19-6 as a pro, and he's given up 1 inch of height and 7 inches of reach to 24-year-old Morales, who is 15-0 as a pro. And I brought up Gabriel Bonfim versus Nicholas Dalby because that is the fight that I'm thinking of here with this matchup. Even though the odds were much steeper in that fight. Much wider, I should say. Michael Morales, he's 15-0. He's got 11 finishes via knockout, just 1 via submission, and 3 decisions. The guy is a very dangerous, powerful, well-rounded fighter. Difficult guy to out-wrestle. That's his background first and foremost. He is a wrestler and a very difficult guy to survive because he's one of those wrestlers that just has the magic touch, and he's knocking out a lot of good fighters, and even at the UFC level. Trevin Giles, he got through him in round 1, which was very impressive. And even more impressively, he won a decision over Max Griffin, and I thought he outlasted Max Griffin. I did pick Max to beat Michael Morales. I thought Max Griffin could be that savvy veteran who takes over down the stretch and outlasts Michael Morales. But instead it was kind of the opposite. Still, Morales was tested in that fight, and he proved, if nothing else, he's got good cardio and his toughness as well. And he also knocked out Adam Fugit in the UFC in round 3. That's not the most impressive victory, sure, but the fact that he got him out of there in round 3 is another notch for his cardio. And that's the thing with him. Between those fights and the fight against Varetnikov on the Contender Series, another one of his decision victories, I trust Michael Morales' cardio. I trust his cardio, watching him fight Max Griffin and Nikolai Varetnikov. I think he's a very trustworthy guy at 24 years old, unlike Gabriel Bonfim, where I had all these questions about what he's going to look like, and I don't know, and whatever. I don't have those questions with Michael Morales. I'm waiting for him to be beaten on a technical basis, but as far as beating him with cardio and whatever, the newcomer getting overwhelmed by the comfortable UFC fighter, I'd love to see it happen, but there's nothing to indicate that that should happen, because he's passing every test, Michael Morales. Here he's fighting Jake Matthews, who's been tested a lot. 19-6 record. I believe all 6 losses come in the UFC. He's got 1 by TKO. That's the Kevin Lee, and it was a positional thing from the back. Kevin Lee, a fucking top game monster in his prime. He's got 3 via submission. Sean Brady arm triangled him in round 3. Rocco Martin, Anaconda choked him in round 3. And James Vick guillotined him in round 1, way back when. And then the 2 decision losses are to Andrew Holbrook and fucking someone else. Oh, Matthew Semmelsberger. Matthew Semmelsberger recently, that was his last loss, knocked Jake Matthews around and ended up getting a dominant decision victory. Jake, that's the thing with him. He's never been knocked out. And Michael Morales has that killer power, and he's got 7 inches of reach, a bigger frame, that 24-year-old energy. This could be the first fight in which he's knocked out Jake Matthews. And plus, again, he's looked more vulnerable as of late, certainly in the Matthew Semmelsberger fight. But he hasn't been knocked out, Jake Matthews. It just hasn't happened yet. He's been submitted, but Michael Morales only has 1 submission. I'm sure he could power guillotine anybody, but I'm not expecting Jake Matthews to get submitted here. So I look at this and say, can Jake Matthews win? And he can win in that Nicholas Dalby sort of sense, not finishing Michael Morales, but just by being the guy that's seen it all and can survive it all. And I think if he is able to suck some of the life out of Michael Morales, there's a chance Jake Matthews just out-hustles him and has that good technical striking advantage, which I do think Jake is a slicker striker, and I definitely think he's a slicker grappler. But I just think he's up against it here, where he's not going to be able to go through the wrestling of Michael Morales. And, Michael Morales is a strong young kid with a big frame. He's going to be a difficult guy to wrangle anyway without the wrestling, just athletically. And on the feet, I think Jake Matthews is a slicker striker. I think he's cleaner, and you trust his work rate, but he's got to get by 7 inches of reach. He's fighting a guy who has bricks in his hands, and Jake Matthews was knocked around a lot against Matthew Semmelsberger, and I think he's going to be a little more hesitant to go through the striking of Michael Morales. And again, with all Michael Morales has shown with round 3 victories and these decision victories, where he was the last man standing, so to speak, the fresher guy in the end, I think I can't pick against Michael Morales here. Even though Jake Matthews has seen it all, done it all, and looked good in every which way, and he's definitely the more well-rounded fighter. I just think Michael Morales has such distinct strengths where I'm picking him to win this fight. And I'm picking him to win by decision. I think he wins with power. He wins a decision with power. And I don't know what the volume numbers will look like. I'm sure Jake will be in there. But he's not going to have the power of Michael Morales. I don't think he's going to have the bigger moments. I think those will belong to Morales. And I don't think Jake is going to be able to go through the wrestling and impose his grappling on Morales either. So Morales by decision is the pick. And I'm not going to bet on it because the odds aren't so great. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.